History hides secrets we were never meant to uncover. Tonight, we open the vault of the unexplained.
Weird historical mysteries that experts can't solve. History is full of secrets buried beneath centuries of silence and shadows, questions that still echo without answers, puzzles that leave even the greatest minds baffled. And tonight we're going to explore them together. But before we dive deep into these strange tales from the past, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us until the very end, because what you're about to hear will change the way you think about history forever. From lost civilizations to unexplained artifacts to eerie accounts recorded by those who swore they saw the impossible, these are the stories that remind us how much we don't know and maybe never will. Let's begin with the first mystery. Imagine walking through the dense jungles of Central America, the air heavy with heat, the sounds of birds and insects all around, and suddenly stumbling upon a massive stone head staring back at you, its features unmistakably human, yet somehow not quite. Its lips thick, its nose broad, its expression calm but strange, as if carved by hands that understood more than they should. These are the colossal Olmec heads, some weighing up to 50 tons, found scattered across Mexico, and to this day experts argue over their purpose and their origin. How were they moved? Who were they supposed to represent? And why do some of them seem to show faces that look like people from across the ocean? Faces that don't match the local population. Could they be proof of contact between continents long before Columbus? Or are they simply stylized depictions of rulers and warriors? Mainstream historians argue for the latter, but the sheer size and craftsmanship of these heads keep the debate alive. Because when you stand before one, towering over you like a silent guardian of forgotten times, you can't help but wonder if we're missing part of the story. And maybe that story stretches across oceans and millennia in ways we can't quite imagine. But the Olmec heads are just the beginning. Let's move to another mystery that has defied explanation for centuries. The Voynich manuscript, a book written in a language no one has ever understood, filled with drawings of plants that don't exist, diagrams of strange astronomical systems, and pages upon pages of cryptic text. Discovered in the early 20th century but believed to date back to the 1400s, this manuscript has been the subject of countless attempts at decipherment, from expert cryptographers to computer algorithms, yet it refuses to reveal its secrets. Some say it's a hoax, an elaborate prank created by a medieval scribe to fool a wealthy collector, while others believe it holds true knowledge, maybe even lost science or coded wisdom hidden away from prying eyes. Whatever it is, the Voynich manuscript continues to taunt researchers. Because if it is meaningless, why would someone pour so much effort into it? And if it does mean something, who was it written for, and why keep it hidden in such an indecipherable code? Imagine the frustration of staring at a page, seeing sentences flow across in elegant handwriting, knowing it's saying something important, but you'll never know what. It's like the book is laughing at us from across 6 centuries, daring us to unlock its mystery. But history doesn't just leave us cryptic books. It also leaves us objects that seem impossible for their time. Take the Antikythera mechanism, pulled from a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1901. At first glance it looks like a corroded chunk of bronze, but when examined more closely, researchers realized it was a machine, filled with gears and intricate mechanisms. And not just any machine. It's a device capable of predicting astronomical positions and eclipses with astonishing accuracy, dating back over 2,000 years. Some call it the first computer. Yet nothing else like it has ever been found from that era. How did ancient Greeks build something so advanced? And why did that knowledge vanish for over 1,000 years before similar technology appeared again? Was it a one-of-a-kind creation, or evidence of a lost tradition of engineering that will never recover? Every time scientists reconstruct the Antikythera mechanism, they're stunned by the precision, the tiny gears that mesh together like something from a modern watch. And yet it predates even the concept of such devices by centuries. It forces us to rethink what the ancients were truly capable of, and perhaps it also hints at how fragile knowledge can be, how easily it can be lost when empires fall and libraries burn. But let's step away from objects and talk about places, because there are ruins scattered across the world that shouldn't exist, at least not according to our current timeline of history. One of the most debated sites is Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, discovered in the 1990s. This archaeological wonder consists of massive stone pillars arranged in circles, decorated with intricate carvings of animals and symbols. It dates back to around 9600 BC. Thousands of years before Stonehenge or the pyramids, and long before humanity was supposed to have developed agriculture or complex societies. According to the textbooks, people at that time were simple hunter-gatherers. Yet here we have a site that required enormous organization, planning, and skill. Who built Göbekli Tepe, and why? Some suggest it was a temple, others think it was a gathering place for rituals, but no one truly knows. What makes it even stranger is that the entire site was deliberately buried around 800 BC, as if someone wanted to hide it from the future. Why cover up such an achievement, unless the people who built it knew something we don't? Every discovery at Göbekli Tepe forces archaeologists to rewrite human history, and yet the more they dig, the more questions arise. It's a mystery that keeps growing instead of shrinking, and when you look at those towering T-shaped pillars, weathered by time but still standing, you realize we've only scratched the surface of what our ancestors might have known. But Göbekli Tepe isn't alone in this. There are also stories of entire civilizations that seem to vanish without a trace. Take the Indus Valley Civilization, once thriving along what is now Pakistan and northwest India. They built cities with advanced drainage systems, standardized weights and measures, and signs of sophisticated urban planning, long before other regions reached similar levels. Yet around 1900 BC, this great civilization began to decline and eventually disappeared. No massive war, no sudden catastrophe we can clearly point to, just a slow fading into obscurity. Their script remains undeciphered, their social structure still a mystery, and their disappearance one of the great unanswered questions of history. Did climate change destroy their crops? Did invaders wipe them out? Or did something else entirely happen? Every time new evidence surfaces, it opens more possibilities but no final answer. It's as if history itself doesn't want us to know. Now, while some mysteries are about what vanished, others are about what appeared, and perhaps one of the strangest examples is the Baghdad Battery, discovered in Iraq. These small clay jars contain copper cylinders and iron rods, and when reconstructed, they can produce a small electrical charge when filled with acidic liquid. Some believe they were used as ancient batteries, long before electricity was supposed to be harnessed. Skeptics argue they were simply storage containers or tools for rituals, but the possibility that ancient cultures might have understood electricity is too tantalizing to ignore. If they were batteries, what were they used for? Powering small devices, electroplating metals, or maybe something even stranger. Whatever the truth, the Baghdad Battery sits on the line between science and mystery, a reminder that history is not always as straightforward as we think, and as we move through these mysteries, you start to see a pattern. History is not just about what we know, it's about what we don't know, and maybe never will. Each of these puzzles is like a crack in the surface of time, showing us glimpses of something deeper, something forgotten. But the question is, do we dare to look closer? Because once you start down this rabbit hole, it's hard to climb back out. We've already seen strange heads carved in stone, strange books written in unbreakable codes, strange machines from the depths of the sea, and temples older than civilization itself. But the mysteries keep going. They stretch across continents, they whisper from deserts and oceans, they laugh at us from the edges of maps. Take for example the mysterious city of Teotihuacan in Mexico. The name itself means the place where the gods were created, and when you walk through its massive avenues lined with pyramids that tower into the sky, you can feel why the ancients gave it such a name. But here's the strange part: when the Aztecs discovered Teotihuacan, it was already abandoned. The people who built it were long gone, their identity unknown, their language lost. Even today, archaeologists don't know who built it or why they left the city behind. The pyramids of the sun and moon rise above the ruins, massive stone structures aligned with astronomical precision, suggesting knowledge of the stars and cycles far beyond what we imagined for that time. Some theories say Teotihuacan was a city of priests and astronomers, others say it was a political and military power controlling much of Mesoamerica. But the collapse remains unsolved. What happened to the builders? Plague, invasion, internal rebellion, or perhaps something stranger? The tunnels recently discovered beneath the pyramids contain pools of liquid mercury glittering like rivers of stars. What was the purpose of such a bizarre design? Mercury is toxic, yet it flows beneath the sacred sites as if meant to represent something cosmic, something otherworldly, maybe to simulate the underworld, maybe to connect the people with gods, or maybe with something not of this earth. The unanswered questions make Teotihuacan one of the most haunting ancient mysteries in the world. And if that wasn't strange enough, think about the stone city of Puma Punku in Bolivia. The ruins here contain blocks of andesite stone weighing up to 100 tons each, cut with precision so fine that even today with modern tools it would be difficult to replicate. The blocks fit together like puzzle pieces, some with perfect right angles and interlocking joints as if crafted by machines rather than chisels. Mainstream archaeologists attribute the site to the Tiwanaku culture around 500 AD, but the sheer engineering challenges leave many doubting how it was done. Some suggest lost techniques, others whisper about knowledge passed down from forgotten civilizations, or even Something extraterrestrial. When you stand in front of those massive H-shaped blocks, smooth as if laser cut, you realize you're looking at work that doesn't fit the timeline. It's like a fragment of technology misplaced in history, and Puma Punku is not alone in this enigma. Travel to Baalbek in Lebanon and you'll find the so-called stone of the pregnant woman, a single megalith estimated at more than 1,000 tons, carved but never moved. Nearby, the foundations of ancient temples are built with stones so huge that modern cranes would struggle to lift them, yet they were placed with such precision that they've lasted thousands of years. How were they transported and set into place? No one has an answer. Every attempt to replicate the feat with ropes, rollers, and manpower falls short, leaving us to wonder whether we're missing entire chapters of ancient engineering knowledge that was somehow lost to time, just like at Stonehenge, where massive stones from Wales were dragged hundreds of miles to southern England, then arranged in a circular pattern aligned to the solstices. No written records explain why the builders did it, and no single theory satisfies the mystery. Was it a calendar, a temple, a place of healing, or something we can't even imagine? Every culture seems to have built something impossible, something that shouldn't exist according to our view of history. And speaking of impossible artifacts, consider the Shroud of Turin, a piece of linen cloth that bears the faint image of a man appearing to have been crucified. Some believe it to be the burial shroud of Jesus Christ itself, while others call it a medieval forgery. Radiocarbon dating has placed it around the 13th or 14th century, but even that has been debated because the image itself is not painted, burned, or stained in any conventional way. Under ultraviolet light, the image behaves unlike anything else we know. How was it formed, and why does it carry anatomical details so precise they match the wounds described in biblical accounts? Scientists have tried to reproduce the image with modern technology, and yet nothing matches perfectly. Believers see it as proof, skeptics see it as a mystery of trickery or accident, but either way the shroud refuses to be explained, and that's the common theme across all these mysteries. They refuse to be boxed neatly into categories. They refuse to obey our rules. They just sit there taunting us, daring us to solve them. Let's shift our attention to a different kind of mystery, the one that comes not from artifacts or monuments but from sound. In the 1970s, astronomers picked up a strange radio signal from deep space lasting exactly 72 seconds. It was so unusual, so strong that the man who discovered it, Jerry Eman, circled it on the printout and simply wrote one word beside it: wow, and so it became known as the WOW signal. To this day it remains one of the most mysterious signals ever recorded from space. No known satellite, no known planet, no known natural phenomenon has explained it. Could it have been a message from another civilization reaching across the stars, or just a rare cosmic event that we happened to catch once and never again? The fact that it happened only once and never repeated makes it even stranger. The universe, it seems, hides secrets on scales both massive and intimate, from galaxies to stones in the dirt. But let's return to Earth and consider the case of the Mayan calendar, popularized in 2012 as predicting the end of the world. Though that interpretation was exaggerated, the calendar itself remains a marvel of astronomical calculation. The Maya tracked planetary movements with incredible precision, predicting eclipses centuries in advance and aligning temples to celestial events. But how did they achieve such accuracy without telescopes, without modern tools? What motivated them to devote such effort to charting the heavens? Some say it was for agriculture, others for religious rituals, but perhaps it was because they knew that the sky itself was a code, and if you could read it you could understand the destiny of humanity. But the Maya are not alone in this obsession with the heavens. Look at the Nazca lines in Peru, massive geoglyphs etched into the desert floor, some only visible from the sky. They depict animals, plants, and geometric shapes stretching across miles of barren land. Why create designs that the builders themselves could never see from the ground? Some suggest they were offerings to gods who looked down from above. Others propose they were giant calendars or astronomical maps, and of course some wonder if they were messages meant to be seen by beings flying overhead. Whatever the truth may be, the Nazca lines remain one of the strangest open-air mysteries of history, a reminder that sometimes the answers are written so large we can only see them when we step back far enough. But not all mysteries are carved into the land. Some are hidden beneath the sea. In 1968, divers near Bimini in the Bahamas discovered a massive underwater formation now called the Bimini Road, a series of stone blocks that look eerily like a paved road or wall. Some claim it's the remains of Atlantis, the legendary lost civilization described by Plato. Others argue it's a natural formation, but the straight edges and arrangement make it hard to dismiss as chance. And the mention of Atlantis itself is perhaps the greatest mystery of all. Was it just a story told by Plato to illustrate the dangers of hubris, or was it based on some real memory of a civilization swallowed by the sea? Scholars argue both sides, but the allure of a lost advanced society continues to capture imagination around the world. And if you think Atlantis is only myth, consider the ruins off the coast of Japan at Yonaguni, discovered in the 1980s. Massive stone structures that look like Staircases, terraces, and walls lie beneath the waves. Some geologists claim it's a natural rock formation shaped by erosion. Others see the hand of humans in its sharp lines and symmetrical designs. If it is man-made, it could rewrite the history of settlement in the region, pushing back the timeline by thousands of years. And so the debate rages on, like so many of these mysteries, caught between nature and human craft, between hoax and truth, between what we know and what we desperately wish to know. But that's the beauty of mystery. It leaves room for wonder. It leaves room for the imagination to breathe, and perhaps that's why we can't let these stories go, why we dig them up again and again, because deep down we want answers, but maybe more than answers, we want to be reminded that the world is bigger and stranger than we think. When we think about history, we often picture it as a straight line moving from primitive beginnings to modern brilliance, but the deeper you look, the more cracks appear, cracks where stories don't fit, where artifacts refuse to obey the rules, where entire events defy logic. Take for instance the case of the Roman dodecahedron, small bronze objects with 12 flat faces, each pierced with holes of varying sizes, found scattered across Europe. No written record explains their purpose, yet dozens have been discovered, carefully crafted and uniform in design. Were they tools, measuring devices, candlestick holders, dice for games, or something ceremonial? No one knows. Experiments show they could have been used to measure distances, or perhaps to size up fabrics for weaving, but nothing definitive ever been proven, and so the mystery lingers. Small objects carrying weight far beyond their size, and Rome itself hides another puzzle deep in its history, the legend of the 9 unknown men. According to some accounts, Emperor Ashoka of India created a secret society of 9 scholars in the 3rd century BC, tasked with guarding dangerous knowledge of science, warfare, and even secrets of the human mind. Each man was entrusted with a book, and together they were said to hold the key to humanity's hidden potential. Could this have been real? Was there truly a brotherhood that carried secrets through centuries? Whispers of the society appear in writings from different cultures, suggesting the legend had legs. Whether myth or truth, it hints at a recurring theme: knowledge too powerful to be shared with the world and guarded until the right time. But sometimes knowledge doesn't need guardians, it simply vanishes, like the Library of Alexandria, once the greatest repository of human wisdom in the ancient world, housing scrolls from every known civilization. It was said to contain hundreds of thousands of texts mapping out history, science, medicine, philosophy, and more. Yet through fires, wars, and neglect, it was destroyed, leaving us with a void so deep that we may never recover what was lost. What discoveries, what explanations of mysteries might have been contained in those scrolls? What if the answers to the Antikythera mechanism, or the Voynich manuscript, or even Atlantis itself were written down there only to be reduced to ash? The tragedy of lost knowledge is as haunting as any unsolved puzzle, because it reminds us how fragile memory is, how quickly brilliance can be erased. But sometimes what remains is enough to confuse us even more, like the Piri Reis map created in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. It shows coastlines of Europe and Africa with great accuracy, but here's the strange part: it also appears to depict the coast of Antarctica centuries before it was discovered and long before it was mapped without ice. Skeptics argue it's misinterpreted or simply a coincidence, but cartographers and historians continue to marvel at the precision of its details. How could a 16th century mapmaker have drawn what shouldn't have been known? Did he have access to older sources, copies of maps from civilizations long gone? If so, who were they, and how did they chart land shrouded in ice? The mystery makes us question the entire chain of geographic knowledge and whether humanity once sailed farther and deeper than we realize. But mysteries are not always about maps. Sometimes they're about people who vanish without explanation. One of the strangest tales in American history is that of the Roanoke colony. In the late 1500s, more than 100 settlers vanished from the island, leaving behind only a single word carved into a tree: Croton. What happened to them? Were they absorbed into local tribes slaughtered by enemies, or did they move inland and perish? Historians debate, but no bodies, no definitive signs were ever found. The lost colony remains a story that refuses closure, a human puzzle written in absence. And across the ocean, another human enigma lingers: the case of the dancing plague of 1518 in Strasbourg, when dozens of people suddenly began dancing uncontrollably in the streets, some for days until they collapsed from exhaustion, some even danced to death. No explanation has ever satisfied completely. Was it mass hysteria, ergot poisoning from contaminated grain, or a psychological event triggered by stress and famine? Whatever it was, the idea of an entire city caught in a feverish dance of doom remains one of history's most bizarre unsolved events. And while we're in Europe, consider the Green Children of Woolpit, a legend from medieval England. 2 children with green-tinted skin were said to have appeared in the village, speaking an unknown language and refusing to eat anything but beans. Eventually they learned English and explained they came from a place of eternal twilight. Some think it was a folk tale, others suggest it was a garbled memory of strangers from another land, or even a myth symbolizing outsiders. But the story lingers, haunting and peculiar, like so many others. And speaking of children, there is the mysterious case of Caspar Hauser in 19th century Germany, a boy who appeared out of nowhere, claiming to have been raised in darkness with no contact with the outside World his sudden appearance sparked speculation that he was of royal blood hidden away in secret. His strange mannerisms and tragic death only deepened the mystery, leaving behind questions about who he really was and why his life was cut short. History is filled with such figures, people who seem to arrive from nowhere carrying secrets they never fully share, but sometimes it is not people but sounds that baffle us, like the mysterious hums reported around the world from Taos in New Mexico to Bristol in England. Low-frequency sounds heard by thousands, yet with no clear source. Scientists have studied them, pointing to everything from industrial machinery to geological activity, but in many cases the hum remains untraceable, a sound that seems to rise from the earth itself, like the planet whispering a secret too low to understand. And what about the sky? In 1561, citizens of Nuremberg, Germany reported seeing a celestial battle overhead, strange shapes, rods, spheres, and crosses filling the sky, as if an aerial war was being fought in the heavens. Broadsheets of the time recorded the account with drawings of the event. Skeptics say it was a natural phenomenon like sun dogs or mass hysteria, but the vividness of the reports makes it one of the earliest well-documented UFO sightings in history. The sky, it seems, has always been a canvas for mystery, from fire in the heavens to ships on the sea, like the Mary Celesta ship found adrift in 1872 with no crew on board, provisions untouched, cargo intact, and no sign of struggle or storm. The crew simply vanished. Theories range from mutiny to piracy to seaquakes, but none have been proven. The ship sailed on into legend, carrying a silence more terrifying than any attack, and silence echoes too from the mystery of the Tunguska event in 1908, when a massive explosion flattened 80 million trees in Siberia with the force of a nuclear bomb, yet no crater was ever found. Scientists say it was likely a meteor airburst, but no fragments large enough were recovered, leaving us with a wound in the earth, without a weapon, a scar, without a story. Mysteries like this remind us that even in modern times nature still defies explanation, just as it did for ancient people staring up at eclipses or down at strange carvings etched in stone from the Moai of Easter Island. Massive stone statues with bodies buried beneath the soil to the Dogon people of Mali, who possessed astronomical knowledge of Sirius long before telescopes, from the crystal skulls said to contain ancient wisdom to the legends of Vimanas, flying machines described in ancient Indian texts. The world is filled with whispers of things beyond understanding, and perhaps that is the point. The mysteries will not give us answers easily. They will tease us, they will draw us, and they will make us wonder, and in that wonder we find the real power of history, because when history is unsolved it comes alive, it breathes, it makes us realize that the past is not dead, it is still moving beneath our feet, still calling from the shadows. History is like a vast ocean. We stand at the shore collecting seashells, but just beyond the waves lie shipwrecks, treasures, and creatures we cannot see. Each mystery we've covered is just one ripple in that ocean, but the deeper you look, the stranger it becomes. Consider the legend of the Ark of the Covenant, said to be the sacred chest that held the 10 Commandments, a vessel of divine power capable of striking enemies dead and bringing victory to those who carried it. The Ark vanishes from history sometime after the destruction of the first temple in Jerusalem. Where did it go? Some believe it was taken to Ethiopia, where to this day a small chapel claims to guard it, though no outsider is allowed to see it. Others think it was hidden in tunnels beneath Jerusalem waiting for rediscovery. Still others argue it was lost forever in the sands of time. The mystery of the Ark is not just about religion, it's about the power of stories to shape nations, because whether it lies somewhere hidden or was destroyed long ago, it continues to inspire wars, quests, and endless speculation. Another object steeped in mystery is the Holy Grail, not the jeweled cup of movies, but a vessel described in medieval texts as holding miraculous power. Was it a real artifact, a symbol of divine grace, or perhaps something else entirely? Many locations across Europe claim to hold the Grail, from cathedrals to hidden monasteries, yet no one can prove its authenticity. Some scholars suggest it was never meant to be an object, but a metaphor for spiritual awakening. Still, the allure of the Grail continues to pull explorers and historians alike, reminding us that some mysteries thrive not in discovery but in pursuit. And speaking of pursuit, imagine chasing a city across centuries. El Dorado, the city of gold. Spanish explorers ventured deep into the jungles of South America in search of it, driven by tales of a ruler who covered himself in gold dust and bathed in a sacred lake. Countless lives were lost, expeditions vanished, and still no city of gold was ever found. Was El Dorado a real place, a misunderstanding of local rituals, or simply a story born of greed and imagination? No one can say, but the idea of hidden cities glitters in our minds just as brightly as it did in the eyes of conquistadors. Think of the lost city of Z, an obsession of the British explorer Percy Fawcett, who vanished in the Amazon in the 1920s. While searching for it to this day, no trace of him has been found, his disappearance becoming part of the Legend itself perhaps swallowed by the forest, perhaps consumed by the mystery he chased, and the Amazon itself hides countless secrets, from geoglyphs visible only from the air to entire ancient settlements recently revealed by LiDAR technology, reminding us that there are still chapters of human history lying untouched beneath the trees. But sometimes the mysteries aren't hidden in jungles but beneath our own feet, like the Oak Island Money Pit in Nova Scotia, a shaft discovered in the 1700s where diggers kept uncovering layers of logs, platforms, and flooded tunnels as if designed to keep treasure forever buried. Over the centuries, fortunes have been spent, lives lost, and theories spun, ranging from pirate gold to the lost manuscripts of Shakespeare, yet no treasure has ever been recovered, only deeper confusion. The Money Pit remains a metaphor for mystery itself. The deeper you dig, the less certain you become, yet you cannot stop digging because the possibility of truth keeps you moving forward. Across the Atlantic lies another puzzle. In Rennes-le-Château, a small village in France, where in the 1800s a parish priest suddenly grew wealthy after discovering something hidden in his church. Some say it was treasure, others believe it was secret knowledge, perhaps even tied to the bloodline of Christ. The story has fueled countless books and theories linking it to the Holy Grail, the Knights Templar, and secret societies, and though skeptics dismiss it as legend, the village continues to draw seekers hoping to uncover what lies beneath its quiet stones. And when you bring up the Knights Templar, you enter another labyrinth of mysteries, a powerful order of warrior monks rising in the Crusades, amassing immense wealth and influence, only to be suddenly suppressed in the 14th century. Accused of heresy and secrecy, what happened to their treasure? What happened to their knowledge? Were they truly guilty of strange rituals, or were they victims of kings and popes hungry for their riches? Some say the Templars fled with their secrets to Scotland, others that they became the roots of later secret societies like the Freemasons. Whatever the truth, the very name Templar now echoes with conspiracy and enigma. Yet even older than the Templars are the mysteries of the pyramids of Egypt, towering monuments aligned with stars built with blocks so massive they still spark debate about how they were moved. Mainstream Egyptologists argue for ramps and manpower, but alternative theories suggest machines, levers, or techniques. We have lost the Great Pyramid especially remains a riddle, not just in construction but in purpose. Some see it as a tomb, others as a cosmic clock, a power plant, or even a message encoded in stone. Regardless of the theory, the fact remains it has stood for over 4,000 years, refusing to give up its secrets, and Egypt holds more than just pyramids. Think of the enigmatic Sphinx, weathered by millennia. Some geologists argue it shows signs of water erosion, suggesting it may be far older than traditionally believed, perhaps built before the desert existed. If so, who carved it, and why? What forgotten culture could have left behind such a guardian of silence? The desert itself seems to hum with unanswered questions, just as the oceans do. Beneath their waves lie anomalies like the Baltic Sea anomaly discovered by divers in 2011, a formation resembling a massive stone disk with strange grooves and patterns resting on the seafloor. Skeptics call it a natural rock formation, but its shape suggests something deliberate. Some claim it interferes with electronic equipment when approached, adding to the strangeness, like an ancient machine slumbering in the deep sea. And across the world, in China, lie the pyramids of Xi'an, hundreds of earthen structures, some so massive they rival the Egyptian pyramids, yet for decades they were kept out of sight, hidden by government secrecy. The largest, the White Pyramid, is said to be almost 3 times the height of the Great Pyramid, yet little excavation has been done. What lies inside? Who built them? Why are they not studied with the same intensity as Egypt? Perhaps there are truths the world is not ready to face, or perhaps they are simply forgotten, left to erode into hills, but still carrying secrets in their silent cores. Every continent, it seems, has mysteries carved into its skin. From the Moai of Easter Island, staring out to sea as if waiting for someone who never came, to the statues of Ein Ghazal in Jordan, among the oldest life-size statues in the world, their blank eyes staring at us across 9,000 years. Why did they build them? What did they represent? Were they God's ancestors or something else entirely? The answers remain just out of reach, and perhaps that is why these mysteries grip us so tightly, because each one is like a door left half open we cannot resist peering through, even if what we find changes everything we think we know. Here we go. The deeper we travel into the unknown corridors of history, the more we realize that the mysteries are not isolated but woven into the very fabric of time. We began our journey by asking a simple question: why do some events remain unexplained despite centuries of research? Why do some puzzles defy every attempt at rational explanation? The answer lies in the truth that history is not complete, it is fragmented, layered with bias, clouded by time, and sometimes intentionally distorted to protect secrets or power. But when we bring these mysteries into the light, something powerful happens. They no longer belong only to scholars or governments, they belong to all of us. Take the tale of the Voynich manuscript, filled with strange letters and plants that do not exist anywhere in nature. Despite years of study, even with artificial intelligence, we are no closer to cracking its code. What if it is not a code at all, but a warning left by a forgotten civilization, something we were never Meant to read then, there are the Roman dodecahedron, small bronze objects scattered across Europe, their use still unknown. Were they tools for measurement, ritual devices, or instruments of war? Every guess is met with silence from the past, yet they keep surfacing in fields and rivers as though they were lost hurriedly or abandoned in panic. Then we looked at the Devil's Kettle, the strange waterfall in Minnesota where half the river simply disappears into the earth. Scientists have tried dye and ping pong balls, nothing resurfaces. Could it be a hidden underground reservoir, a natural portal to some unreachable place, or a reminder that even in our modern world nature still keeps secrets? And then the Great Pyramids with their precision angles and hidden shafts aligned perfectly with stars that no longer shine in the same position. How did an ancient people with primitive tools move millions of stones and align them with cosmic precision? Maybe we underestimate them, or maybe we are missing the truth about lost knowledge passed down from a civilization even older than Egypt. Next we spoke about the lost colony of Roanoke, 100 people gone without a trace, leaving behind a single word carved into wood. Croton. Was it a clue, a warning, or a misdirection? Entire communities can vanish into the folds of history, leaving only echoes to taunt us. Then we drifted to the oceans with the Bermuda Triangle swallowing ships and planes. Its reputation as a graveyard is undeniable, but the reasons behind it remain disputed. Could it be strange currents, pockets of gas, or something entirely beyond our science? And from the sea to the mountains we went, to the Nazca lines, giant figures etched into the desert floor, only visible from the sky. How could ancient people without flight create such perfect geometric patterns? Was it art, or a signal to the gods, or perhaps even a message to beings far beyond our world? We dove into the mystery of King Tut's curse. Explorers who opened his tomb fell ill or died in bizarre accidents, coincidence, or something older, darker, and protective, guarding the secrets of the boy king. The curse reminds us that curiosity has a cost when secrets are disturbed. Then we encountered the moving stones of Death Valley, heavy rocks sliding across dry desert ground, leaving trails without explanation. No humans, no machines. Some say ice, some say wind, but even with cameras capturing their slow crawl, the reason why they move at all remains mysterious. We examined the Antikythera mechanism, an ancient Greek device more advanced than it had any right to be. Gears and calculations of the heavens built 1,000 years before the world was supposed to understand such things. Who built it, and why was this knowledge lost? We cannot know for sure. And then Stonehenge, rising from the English countryside, immense stones carried from miles away for purposes we can only guess. A calendar, a burial site, a place of ritual. Each stone resonates with mystery, the sound of time itself preserved in rock. And from there we drifted to Oak Island, the endless hunt for treasure, where every discovery only deepens the riddle. Shafts, tunnels, and hidden chambers luring fortune seekers, but the ultimate secret still buried beneath the soil, refusing to reveal itself. We moved across continents to the statues of Easter Island, immense heads staring out to sea. How did the islanders move such colossal figures, and why do their bodies lie buried beneath the earth? Silent watchers that seem to guard an unspeakable past. From there we questioned the sudden collapse of civilizations, like the Mayans who abandoned entire cities, advanced and vast, then vanished, leaving behind temples swallowed by jungle. Was it drought, war, plague, or something more eerie? We explored the bog bodies preserved for thousands of years in peat moss, faces frozen in time, some bearing marks of ritual sacrifice, their stories mute but haunting. And we followed the strange story of the Tunguska event in Russia, 1908. Massive explosion flattened forests yet left no crater. What force could devastate so much land without leaving its source behind? Comet, meteor, weapon, something stranger still. And then there are the great flood myths told in every culture, from Mesopotamia to China, from Africa to the Americas, all describing a world swallowed by water at the same time. Can they all be wrong, or do they whisper about a forgotten global catastrophe? And as we gathered all these tales together, a picture forms. History is not complete, it is not solved, it is alive, full of gaps, riddles, and locked doors, and every mystery reminds us of something vital. We are not as advanced or as wise as we think we are. The ancients carried knowledge we have lost. They faced events we cannot imagine, and sometimes their stories were buried or destroyed, not by chance but by design. Someone somewhere did not want us to remember, and that is what makes these weird historical mysteries more than just strange tales. They are warnings, they are lessons, and above all they are invitations to keep asking, to keep questioning, to never accept the surface when the depths are calling us. Now we arrive at the end of our journey for now, but the mysteries never end. What we uncover today are only fragments. Tomorrow we will uncover more, some stories darker, some stranger, some so unbelievable you will wonder how they could possibly be true. But that is the beauty of history. It is a rabbit hole, and the deeper we go the stranger it gets. And now I have one final request. If you felt that pull of curiosity, if you found yourself leaning closer, waiting for the next secret to be revealed, then this is your place. Subscribe to Hidden Shadows History, because here we bring you the mysteries that textbooks ignore. We uncover the secrets that were meant to stay buried, and together we shine a light on the darkness of time. So like this video, share it with someone who loves the strange and the unknown, and make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next story might just be the one that changes how you see the world forever. The past is not finished, the shadows are waiting, and the question is, are you brave enough to follow me into them? Subscribe now and let's keep exploring together.